G'day folks, well today I'm working on this 2007 model ZRE152R Toyota Corolla. The lady who I've picked it up off of had it diagnosed at Toyota with a faulty alternator. Done some testing myself and it's quite intermittent where it stops charging. Every so often it'll drain the battery to almost nothing, it'll conk out. It's got just enough power to start again and the alternator's fine, you know, the rest of the duration of your trip. So anyway, we've got a new one. It's just going to be a bit of a guide on replacing the drive belt and the alternator. Toyota, after they diagnosed it, lost all the plastic clips that hold the trim piece here on. They also lost the battery hold down. So anyway, to get in at the alternator, which is sort of tucked down in there, you need to remove the engine cover and this one's just got those pesky push-in plastic screw, rivet, whatever clips you want to call them. I've got a set inside. Once you do that, it just comes off, up and off. So this car's been off the road for 2 years. I've got the old battery out of the ute in it at the moment. So the main engine cover, it's on plastic clips that just sort of pull straight up and off. That was only just sitting there. As you can see, the little rubber sort of stopper things that clip on over these things. One bit of rubber still attached there. And there's another one. And another one. So easily enough removed. Before proceeding any further, I'll disconnect this battery. We'll back off this belt tensioner. So along with backing off the tensioner, I need to loosen these two. That one looks like 12mm. That one could be 13 or 14mm. And 12mm bolt here. So you just back those off half a turn, and then you'd use this to adjust your belt to a point where it'll come off. So I've got battery disconnected. I've got this belt slackened off. So if you haven't got a good sort of memory or a lot of experience, might be a good idea to draw a diagram of just what way around this drive belt goes around the pulleys. Anyway, I think I've got it slack enough that I can pull it off. If not, we'll work on it a little bit more. No, there it goes. I'm not sure if what this belt was like, but it has sat for quite a while, so better safe than sorry. Now, before I actually remove the alternator, I'll disconnect this cabling. So at the end of it, hopefully we can just sort of slot it out and without trying to juggle it with wires still attached. Now I think that'll be a 10mm. A bit hard to do it single-handed. I've also found that you have to loosen this bolt here just to swing this bracket up out of the way. No big deal. So everything else is disconnected, wiring, got the 14mm out of the bottom there, got that 12mm out, just this 12mm here, and hopefully that should be it. New versus old, that being the old, that one's more second-hand. It's the belt required. It's actually the same as a Ford 5-litre one. So when I went searching for the belt, I originally just searched eBay for Corolla ZRE152 drive belt, and I was getting quotes of $40 odd. Then I just searched the 6PK 1230 and found listings for about half that price, so always pays to double check. It's just sitting in there. It's got all the bolts loosely fitted. Next step, I'll chuck this belt on, then tension it up, and then we'll worry about the wiring and stuff. Belt, it's quite loose at the moment. It's just a matter of while these two main alternator bolts are loose, you can tighten this bolt here, and it pulls the alternator towards the front of the vehicle to tighten the belt. There's quite a bit of slack there still. There's probably a set tension. We'll just get it. A little bit more. Where I'm happy with it. We'll see how it goes. I'm quite happy with that now. You can turn it a quarter of a turn and it's giving you significant deflection trying to push back. So I might just do it there and see how it is. Oh fuck, I just covered off lens. This is wire bolts on. Make sure it locates in the little slot in the plastic insulator here. Tighten it up. So that's why you want the battery disconnected. For obvious reasons, I'm working on a positive cable. It's going to bash into that if I wasn't careful. Could potentially short something out. You don't want this particularly tight, just enough that it's not going to rattle loose, otherwise you end up breaking this plastic insulator here and you're going to have a bad day. This 4-pin connector here just clips on. There's a little sort of button on the side there you can squeeze and it comes off. And this harness clip, which just holds it in place, clips onto the alternator like so. Once again, if you want it to come out, what did I do to get it out? I think I just shoved a screwdriver in there and releases the little plastic clip that holds it. Now I'll just get this cover on. Where did I put the look? Here it is. It's just a matter of doing that like so. Now, before I go about buttoning it all up and putting covers on, I will just quickly reconnect that battery because I haven't bought a new battery yet. I've got to wait for Monday for that, when the local parts shop's open. So we'll just connect the battery and give it a quick run to see what happens. Okay, battery's connected. Not going to do any harm having that cover off, but anyway. So the belt's fitted. I'm just going to fire it up, make sure the belt's not slipping, and check, I suppose, that we haven't got a battery light. And once it's all buttoned up with a new battery and that, we'll check it with the multimeter to make sure it's 100%, but I'm reasonably confident about it. Turn the heater and stuff off. So we've got a battery light on, which is a good sign. And battery light went out. Actually runs quite well for a car that's got 2-year-old fuel in it. Hasn't been driven more than on and off of my trailer in that time. Reasonably clean little thing. I'll do miss my old Corolla. I had the one that was the model before this, the ZRE152R. I ended up selling it just over a year or so ago now. They're good little cars. Instead of interest, this alternator's a lot quieter than the one that came off. Always sounded like it was struggling under load, and this one, there is a slight pitch difference with things like headlights and that turned on, but it's a lot quieter. And the old one, we were lucky to get that with no lights on at idle. It's always sitting about 13.7, 13.8, we're getting 13.9 and it's staying steady. We've got high beam on at the moment, so a little bit of load. All seems relatively happy. So hopefully, when I get new battery and stuff into it in a couple of days' time, everything else goes swimmingly as well. So, got a battery here, and we're going to have to sort of make up our own clamp. Because Toyota lost the original one. I'm just having a quick look here, so this one will fit in the tray nicely. It's the same as the one that came out, but I don't think it's the correct battery anyway. We'll get it mounted and make it work. Nothing to worry about. Beautiful. Oh, look at that. So all we've got to do is make that strap I bought go. There's one hole down there, which we can stick one hook through. Might just drill a hole through this battery tray here and run it across to that. And then the plastic bit on the top, we might make a bit of packing for it and make it so it holds this battery in nicely. So, sort of our homebrew battery clamp appears to be working all right. A little bit of 30 by 30 RHS sort of sliced down the guts, turned in angle line just to make it space out a bit, and that battery's not going anywhere. I will just double check that there's no burrs on the metal rubbing onto the battery. Should be right. And then we'll button it all up and get it out of here. All buttoned up, gave it a quick wash. Quite happy with my battery strap. Local Toyota dealer wanted $60 friggin' for the genuine thing that goes from there across the battery. That cost me 10. Cost the lady 10. It's alright. And it works, so it's the main thing. I've already set the time and everything on the clock inside after removing the battery. Gone for a quick test drive around the block. Seems good. This thing's been off the road, as I said, for a couple of years, so I've put in some fresh fuel. It will run a lot smoother once they fill the tank up and take it for a long journey. So, yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching.